Hey, what's up you guys, it's me Sanne and I'm back with another beauty video. I'm reviewing something fun today again. I've already done this 3 times before because there's this brand that you can buy at the Action, which is a store in some countries in Europe. You can buy this brand called FAB Factory there. And this brand is known to dupe Huda Beauty palettes. Already done 3 videos on 3 different palettes. This time I noticed they had some new palettes in stock. They actually had 2 different ones. The Action messed up my click and collect order, so I got 2 of the same palette instead of getting the 2 different ones that I wanted. But that's fine. I'll get the other one later and then I'll review that one as well. But first off, I have this one. This is the Sparkling Bliss palette. Looks very nice. Lovely color. I think this is a dupe for the Huda Beauty Desert Dusk palette, if I'm correct. I'll be looking up the colors for that one in a bit so we can compare them a tiny bit. I don't own the Huda Beauty palettes, so I can't compare them directly, but I'll just compare them to pictures and I'll review this palette on its own, like being a palette on its own, you know? This time I'm going to do the review a tiny bit different. Last time I did just 1 or 2 looks with the palettes that I did. This time I feel like I want to do a 3 looks 1 palette thing again because I've really been enjoying doing those. And then like there's a lot of shades in this one. I've already swatched these shades, so I'm going to put some pictures of the swatches over here so you can see what they look like. I'm not going to swatch them live right now because maybe like a few, but not all of them because it's gonna get so messy. So these are the pictures. The swatches looked pretty great actually. The matte shades feel so soft. It's like, I don't know, they're just very soft. It feels very nice. One thing I noticed that I liked a lot about this palette is that there's a lot more shimmer shades in this one than in the nude palette that I have. The thing that I did notice is that the flaky shades in these both palettes are the exact same. They're not like different colors, they're literally the exact same thing. This is Gossip from the nude palette. I don't know if you can see this now. Oh. And then this is Twinkle from the nude palette. Got that one over there. Yeah, those are the ones from the nude palette. And then I noticed the ones from the Bliss palette are the exact same. So I'm gonna swatch those as well. The pink one is Treasure. And the brown one is Pearl. And those 2 are from the Bliss palette. And they are like the exact same shades. I don't know if you can tell right here, but the ones on this side, which are the new ones, they're just a lot more pigmented and flaky. They feel a lot creamier than the old ones. So it's kind of like an improved formula. I just really love these shades, so I don't really mind having them double and having them be even better. But yeah, so those are the 2 really shimmery flaky shades. Then we also got a pressed glitter. I'm not using that one. I hate pressed glitters. Most of the shimmers in here aren't really that sparkly, but more of like a satin soft shimmer, but they're nice. There's again a primer shade, so that's concealer. I'm just gonna be looking at the Huda Beauty shades, and I feel like the colors are extremely similar. Like the colors might be a bit off, like some of the shimmers are like the golden one. In this one seems a bit more champagne-y, and this one is very gold, you know. I don't know, the shades in themselves seem very similar, just this one, the shimmery shades seem a lot less shimmery. At least the price difference is huge, so that's why I always get these palettes. These are €4.90, I think. Very affordable. Like there's a lot of like nudie shades in here. Y'all know I'm not the biggest fan of neutral shades, so like I enjoy the look of the Huda Beauty palettes, but I'm not gonna spend 70 or 80 euros on a neutral kind of palette that Huda has. That's why when I see these kinds of palettes, I'll pick them up. To me, these dupes are a great idea. I enjoy them. I know there's people out there who really hate the idea of dupes. I rambled on for too long about this palette, so I'm just gonna get started on the first look. And I think I want to dive into like these reddish shades. I really like this shimmer shade. It's like a deep burgundy red shimmer. So I really want to do something with that. So I think I'm going to be mixing it with like this shade, maybe this one to lighten it up a bit, and this one to deepen it. I already primed my eyes using my Catrice True Skin Concealer. For the next looks, I'll use the primer in this palette so you can see that won't perform as well. I'm using a fluffy crease brush and I'm going in with this shade and just putting that all over my crease, and we'll see what happens from there. So I'm just applying that over my crease. This is the shade Sweetheart. It's like a nice reddish toned brown. I like this color. This is one of the colors that really drew me to this palette together with the purplish shades. The other shades I don't really care for because they're like neutral tones. I have those 1,000 times over, so that's not really what attracts me to the palette. But I feel like something reddish like this I didn't really have in my collection. So, okay, so I kind of dabbed this onto my crease first, like stepped it on, and now I'm blending it, and I don't know, like on this side it's blended pretty well. I feel like on this side it needs a tiny bit more TLC, but could be because I applied a lot over there. Experienced a tiny bit of fallout underneath. It actually blends pretty well for such a dark shade. Like the pigmentation is also just, it's there, like you can see that. And I'm just going in with a tinier fluffy brush and I'm using this shade Sunset. Going with a tiny bit along the edges to make blending a tiny bit easier. I'm just going to be moving those same shades underneath my eye and smoking that out a bit. We love a smoky lower lash line. Then I'm just going in with this really dark shade Chocolate, and I'm just moving that into the outer corner just to make that a tad bit deeper. So we've got a nice smoked out nudie reddish look going on. So now it's time to go with the shimmers, and I'm gonna start with the shade that I wanted to use, which is this one, Royal, and then applying that to kind of the center of my lid. It isn't that shimmery, it's more of like a satin shade, but it feels so nice and soft. It applies so nicely as well. So now I'm going in with the shade, which is the shade Blushing. So it's like a lighter pinky red toned shimmer, and I'm just applying that to the inner corner of my eyelid. Like the shimmers all feel so extremely creamy and soft. It feels very nice. I feel like these shimmers are so soft that they'd apply very well with a flat brush as well, so I'm just gonna give that a try so I can get into those corners as well. Sometimes shimmers are just too dry and they need the oils from your fingers to apply well to the skin, but this one doesn't need that. So yeah, I feel like this is the first look kind of done. I'm going to add some mascara and lashes and whatever I want to add, and lips, and then I'll be back. I'm back with the first look finished. It did turn out a bit more orange than I planned, but I like it. I do. It's cute. I really like the shimmers on the inner corner. I finished it off with a simple lip gloss, which is the Catrice Generation Plump and Shine lip gloss in the shade 110 Shiny Garnet. I always read Gamut. For this look I used the shades Blushing, Royal, Sweetheart, Sunset, and Chocolate. So those are already 5 shades done out of the 18. So we're gonna quickly go on to the second look and try out some more shades. Hello, I'm back to do the second look. Now I'm going in with the primer that's in this palette actually. Okay, we're going in with a big flat brush and this prime shade. I know I did enjoy the primer that was in the other palette, the nude palette, and I'm guessing this one is the same, so I'm guessing I'll like this one as well. For this second look, I want to dive into like this row, which is the purple row. So I'm just grabbing a fluffy blending brush and going into this shade, the shade Orchid. It's a nice matte purple. It feels really soft, and I think I'm just going to make some sort of halo eye. As you can see, like these mattes pack on really well. Like always, I'm just gonna pretend like that this eye doesn't exist. I always use that as a trial eye, and it always, like, I always mess up on that side. And then it looks nice on this side, so pictures will only be taken from this side. Just going in with the smaller brush and going back in with the purple, and then just moving that underneath my eye in the inner and outer corner. Okay, and then I'm just going to deepen it up a tiny bit using that shimmery shade. This one called Dragon, because it's like such a dark and not really shimmery shade. Just plopping that in the outer corners. Gives it a bit of a sheen, but nothing too crazy. Then I'm going to go in with the shimmer. So I'm first going in with this one, which is the shade Mermaid. And I'm just applying that to the center of my lid. Like especially where now the empty space is. This is a pretty odd shade, but this shimmer is really cool. Because like this you can already see, and then boom. I'm just using this small flat stiff brush just to get that same shimmer underneath my eyes as well. Just kind of slightly applying that as a highlight. That's cool. I don't know if you can really tell on camera that it's really purple, but in real life it's really purple. Yeah, so I'm definitely applying that to my inner corners. Oh, that's so pretty. So for the last step, I'm going into these flakies, or like one flaky. This is the shade Treasure. I'm just gonna be applying that to the center of my lid as well. These are definitely my favorite eyeshadow shades that I have in my collection. You can't see any of the cool shifts on camera, and I hate that, but I am glad you can see that purple. That's really cool. Okay, so I applied all eyeshadow shades, and I'm just gonna apply some mascara and such, and then I'll be back. Hello, I'm back. I'm looking dark. This is the second look. It looks a bit messy close up. I'm not the biggest fan of it, but that's kind of more like what I did with the shadows than the shadows themselves, you know? Lip is Anastasia Beverly Hills in Sepia. For this one I used the primer and then the shades Treasure, Dragon, Orchid, and Mermaid. And now I'm going to do the third look. Welcome back. I'm going to do the third look now. I already have my base makeup done. I already primed my eyelids with the primer that's in the palette. Okay, so I'm first going in with this shade, which is the shade Latte, which is just a very, very light shade. So I'm going to use that as a transition shade first. Just moving that into and above my crease. I've blended it out a tiny bit, so now I'm going into this dark brown shade, medium brown cool tone shade, which is the shade Cookie, and I'm just moving that into my crease. I like this shade. This is a lovely soft shade for me. Like, I can use this on the daily very nicely. Just making sure I blended it outwards enough just to create a nice cut crease. Just to deepen that edge up a bit, I'm going in with Chocolate, the darkest shade, just a tiny bit, just to get that crease as deep as possible. I'm not trying to add too much because I don't want the look to go from a bit more cool tone to warm tone using this. I want to create a full cut crease, so I'm just going in with some makeup remover and a flat brush. And I'm going to draw out that cut crease. So now I'm just going in with some concealer, putting some on the back of my hand, and then just using a flat brush to move that into the cut crease. As you can see, I've got both cut creases down. So we're going to the shimmers. I'm going in with this shade Goldie, which is a lovely soft golden shimmery shade. And I'm just gonna apply that onto the cut crease. These shimmers are really soft, so they apply super well using a flat brush. And I think I want to do a gradient, so I'm also going in with this shade, which is the shade Pleasure, which is more of like a champagne-y cool toned color instead of warm toned like this gold. So I'm just gonna see what I like best, you know. So next up I'm going to add even more shimmer. So I'm going into this flaky shade, my lovely flaky shade called Pearl. So I'm gonna apply that to the inner corner of the lid, on top of that golden shade that we just applied. Now we're just gonna go in with my favorite trick. I'm grabbing some concealer on the back of my hand and a very thin brush, and I'm going to draw an eyeliner shape using my concealer. Now I'm just gonna go in with a very small brush, and I'm gonna be using the same shades I used for the crease. So I'm going to go into that light shade, which is Lotte. And then I'm gonna be applying that to kind of like the inner corner over here. And I'm gonna be creating a gradient in my eyeliner. So then going into that darker brown shade called Cookie. And then for the last bit, I'm going into Chocolate, the very dark shade, just to deepen that last bit up as much as possible. Now I'm just going to be grabbing a very thin brush, and I'm going into those same shades and just applying them underneath my eye to get a nice gradient going over there as well. As you can tell, I've already went ahead and applied some highlighter, but the eye makeup is done. I'm just gonna go ahead and do my lashes and lips and such, and then I'll get back to you with the finished look. I'm back. I'm sorry, I just love this look. I'm very happy I did it this way and not just a basic, boring, neutral look. Something more exciting. Lips is a combination of Anastasia Beverly Hills shade Grim liquid lipstick and Max Amore lip gloss in the shade 362 True You. So, the Sparkling Bliss palette by FAB Factory. My thoughts. I'm looking at it in the perspective of it being its own palette and not being a Huda Beauty dupe. I like this palette, actually. I was afraid I wasn't gonna like it, like not the quality, but just the shade range. I was afraid that it would be very neutral for me and that I wasn't gonna like it, but I think there are some very colorful neutrals in here, so it isn't just neutrals. Like, these are more cool tone neutrals. I don't think I have a lot of cool tone neutrals, so that's also nice. The purple shades are lovely, the reddish neutrals are lovely. I don't know, I like this. It's not really as boring as I thought it would be. I was able to play with this quite a bit. So, the primer shade is nice. I like using that one. It's not bad, it's not good, it's a decent primer. It's nice that they add something like this to the palette. So I'm very happy I got this, actually. Everything performs really well and feels really soft and creamy. I really enjoy that. The flakies are my favorites. I really like this look that I did. I really like the other looks. The other looks may look a bit messy, but I do like the color schemes that I used. So I think for a more neutral palette, I can get quite a bit of not that boring neutral looks out of this. So yeah, that's the FAB Factory Sparkling Bliss palette. It's available at the Action. If you're into more neutral shades and the color stories that Huda Beauty offers, you should check out the FAB Factory palettes, definitely. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you want to see more from me. If you want to see even more from me, my blog and all my socials are linked down below, so you can check that out as well. And that's it for today. I want to thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Toodles!